Guilt-Free Homes investigates freedom in the domestic environment in relation to big tech's involvement in the creation of smart homes, and how this may manifest in the creation and abuse of augmented homes. This is a progression from my fourth year work, which conceptualized a prison where occupants would construct their own cells through the medium of augmented reality, scrutinizing its ability for both freedom and surveillance. These themes were also investigated in my thesis, which looked at the relationship between the smart home and the dumb vernacular of the critically acclaimed Goldsmith Street. Building from this, Guilt-Free Homes looks to interrogate housing through the same medium. Initial investigations were inspired by definitions of dumb in Koolhaas's smart landscapes and intelligent architecture. The augmented bottle provided a basis for exploration on how material longevity could be combined with augmented reality to satisfy our need to consume, providing one long-lasting bottle with multiple skins, therefore adding desire and value to an inert object. This was inspired by modernist architecture from my hometown, Harlow, Essex, which, despite being built from materials which would inherently last hundreds of years, the buildings were demolished in just 60, prompting me to speculate on desire in the home and how other housing schemes from similar periods have lasted so much longer. Mirror worlds provided further precedent, arguing that there will be a one-to-one clone of the world in 3D which could be augmented. Initial filmic investigations took inspiration from Keiji Matsuda's hyperreality and explored how a dumb home could be augmented to create a place of consumption and desire. Further to this, how occupant experiences could be tailored to individual users and the relevance of game logic influenced in the world by interface design rather than architecture. The project posits the creation of Guilt-Free Homes, a subsidiary company of Google, an alternative to Sidewalk Labs, Google's architectural development unit responsible for the recently cancelled Toronto Bay project. Google's recent investments into architecture and smart home technology have led to speculation about the Google Home. The project takes this as a given and aims to speculate how through augmentation and surveillance the Google Home would be created and operated. This was first investigated through a reconfiguration of a typical London floor plan to adapt for home surveillance. Somerstown was chosen as a site for the project given its close relationship to the new Google King's Cross HQ. Furthermore, its proximity to the Gold Belt as defined by Lend-Lease makes the site vulnerable for redevelopment. The project aims to oppose and provide alternative typology to the proposed DRMM tower block set to be placed on the site, but provide all the same amenities. Critical regionalism was studied as a way to interpret Somerstown, looking at projects such as the Iona Bank in Rhodes. It was used as a tool to develop an open-ended and extrovert regionalism that opposes static cultural identities. The facades of the projects therefore catalogue the surrounding area, creating an option-based system where occupants could select the image of their home, perpetuating the idea of augmented skins through physicality. It is suggested these could later be replaced by augmentation. Load-bearing stone is deployed as a primary structure for the site, prized for its small carbon footprint and longevity. Existing regional trade routes would be reinstated from mines in the Midlands, which created the St Pancras Hotel, to further the Somerstown vernacular and cloak the international aims of the scheme's regional aesthetic. The site therefore becomes a place of opportunity, a testbed for housing, hosting the creation of components in the below-ground facade laboratory, as well as providing homes for occupants, but also places of discussion such as the forum and further public amenities. Above ground are 54 homes with a maximum occupancy of 108 people, which surround a courtyard typology which is synonymous with Somerstown. The public courtyard replaces the previous green space and also hosts community facilities. Below ground are a network of making spaces for facades and internal components. The project speculates how physical-based augmentation can provide longevity in housing through its ability to transform the habitable space of the home. The carved stone interior provides a platform for augmentation using 3D object recognition and pattern image recognition to create a distinctive and unique tracker embedded into the stone itself, as inflatables provide further augmented markers in public areas. The project's exterior facades also create a space for augmentation, allowing the occupants to broadcast themselves from within their own home, creating a microcosm of both our evolving relationship with technology and current working situations. The film is intended to be experienced via our current medium of augmentation, the phone or tablet. Working is a 360 experience where physical-based augmented markers trigger acts in the story. These items reflect categories of objectivity which could be replaced via augmentation, arguing that whilst the performative and passive will still need a physical form, the aesthetic could be replaced altogether. The objects act as toeholds between the two worlds, where dumb items are patterned to make the machine readable. These are then augmented to provide countless aesthetic versions and provide function. They were created and tested in real life to assess their augmented viability. The user is placed as the protagonist, Detective Winston. Conceived of as a classic private eye, the main characters are the detective and an assistant, whom in this case is a digital presence, Anna, active only on the protagonist's HUD. The film is set as a hunt for a missing person, and Detective Winston, who is unfamiliar with the site, is tasked with finding one of the original designers who has learnt to subvert the system through changing the marker-based augmentation. Furniture is designed to be static and functional in augmented reality. Regular aspects of the home, such as the couch, have been redesigned to remove the focus from a single point of entertainment and allow for the viewing of many. The central column hides the functional elements of the flat by augmented occlusion, whilst the carvings on the wall allow for the flat to have many different augmented forms. The plot is structured in 5 parts, with the aim to create a hyperbolic and speculative view of how architects, and indeed architecture, could be reduced to insignificance by digital design and augmentation. Arguing that architecture built for longevity that is replicable and reconfigurable and satisfies the user's needs for consumption and change could negate the need for the profession and push architects to rebel against the designers of the system. Not only inspired by films, the narrative structure also references various immersive games, such as Scanlab's Crime Scene, which allows users to be active in the story and play the role of the protagonist. Not always a 3D experience, the film was initially intended to be a 2D cinematic, so various elements of 2D footage are composed in the film via the augmentation. This was initially scripted through a basic animatic which developed alongside the final product. The film uses various techniques of composition to create 360 footage. Initial renders are equirectilinear. These are then composed in 3D, adding elements of green screen footage, color grades, and other rendered elements. These are then pre-filmed via screen capture on a mobile device and recomposited with the heads-up display and sound in post. Further elements use camera tracking to add augmentation to physical objects. These are then composed onto photorealistic backgrounds to create a photography studio in lieu of facilities due to lockdown. Color grades and musical scores are used to differentiate augmentation from reality at the beginning of the film. However, as the two perceptions become more unclear, the score and grading begin to gradually merge. The result of the research is a building which suggests that our current relationship with surveillance capitalism will lead to homes which could last much longer, but at the compromise of our digital and physical freedom. And a film which explores physical-based augmentation through the medium of the home, which proposes that the relevance of architects is limited in future smart homes, which will become places of digital consumption, not physical, alluding that only through digital subversion can narratives of freedom be created. Enjoy.